Anderson
Get over
cracks all the way back in.
It
It
is.
does. And he's locked in, but what a goal!
Inundated. So popular.
All right, welcome back. Australian qualification tournament for the 2020 Olympic Games, Stage 2. We have Kai Peng versus Michelle Bromley. Michelle Bromley now on 2 wins, 0 losses, whilst Kai Peng is now on 1 win, 1 loss. So quite an interesting match. Joining me in the commentary box is Table Tennis Australia CEO, Mr. Scott Houston. Welcome, Scott.
Thanks, Simon.
Should be an interesting match here between the two girls, Sydney-based. Michelle, 2-0.
Absolutely, yeah. They would have played each other countless times in New South Wales tournaments and also national tournaments too. Michelle obviously been around for a very long time now, even though she's not that old. She's doing well. And Kai Peng, sort of the last 5 or 6 years has been around the same level, pushing on the national team door. It should be a very even contest, I think.
Both girls played for Australia at the Commonwealth Championships middle of last year. Both national team, national squad members. Going around the matches, we've got Jan Fang Lei taking on Matilda Alexanderson, Stephanie Sang taking on Michelle Wu, Melissa Tapper against Connie Psihogis, and Tracy Feng against Parlene Kerr. Another one of those interesting junior versus senior matches all round. So, should be a good round of matches. Scott, big few years in the job, mate.
Yeah, it's gone pretty quickly. Coming up now 2.5 years, and it's flown by. But we've been making good progress, so I'm happy with where things are at. But there's still more work to be done as well, of course.
No time to take a breath.
That's right. Yeah.
You've made massive inroads over the last couple of years, 2.5 years. So well done on that. But it's sort of, as you sort of indicated, it's a sort of a long way to go in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, we've certainly made big inroads as if we talk about Table Tennis Australia as a business as a whole, we've had a lot of reform since over the last 2.5 years. We've cleaned up our finances, new board's been in place, complete governance overhaul, putting in place new programs such as the Corporate Cup and Spinaroo's entry-level program, and then of course, we have our high performance in both able-bodied and para. It's all been tracking well. But
I think you listed about 8 different arms there. Is that a fair call? Is that 8?
You just have to sleep less and you can do more. That's the secret.
Yeah, I mean, and that's, I think, what I'm saying, bringing it up. I mean, 8 different arms to sort of improve and fix up and work on all at one hit. And well done. Yeah, it's been, and I think we're seeing results in all areas.
Yeah, it's been very pleasing. I think the thing that I'm most pleased and most proud of is, we really had our back against the wall going back to the sort of September 2017 and being able to rebuild it. And I think it's been on the back of, bringing people along for the ride and demonstrating that we're trying to, progress the sport and keep moving forward. And, people respond when they can see that you're trying hard and you're doing good things, and operating with openness and transparency. So it's not rocket science, but, it does take a concerted effort over a long period of time to get the changes through.
You know what I like most about listening to you sort of speak and just taking it all in, absorbing, is the, any successful story has a beginning. Every successful story has a beginning story, and it's typically not, I took over this $1 billion company and I turned it into a $2 billion company. No, it's sort of, it starts off with a sort of, I'd never played the game before and I became an Olympian, and then I lost in 3 Olympics, and then I finally won a medal, and that's my story. I think that just acknowledging that, I think for me is basically, I'm not really asking a question, I just sort of listening to you. I think it's a great opportunity, and
and I think as well, of course, as I said, we were right up against it in September 2017. We were, $650,000 in debt. There's a long way back for a national sports organisation with limited, revenue possibilities. But we've cleared out $550,000 of that debt now, and we'll be debt free by April this year, going by all forecasts. So, and if we think about it, of course, we wouldn't want the sport and TTA to nearly fall over a couple of years ago, but in hindsight, it's almost like the impetus that was needed to create some real tangible changes, and now we're sort of reaping the rewards of it. So, I guess there's a silver lining to every problem.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just all about being positive at the end of the day, and that's what you've sort of come in with. And I don't know. I mean, I at times have run my own business, and I don't know, I wouldn't have taken it on probably. So it takes a bit of guts to go in there and say, no, I'll take the job under those conditions. So well done. And again, I applaud you, and I sort of, just spread the word in table tennis all over the country that we're on the right way. And as you mentioned, in many different aspects of the game, from corporate table tennis to junior development programs to pathways, to, as you see here, the Olympic qualification still running. I mean, that was in threat 3 years ago that, we are not financial. We can't be an Olympic sport. I mean, so all these little things we can't forget. I mean, while we always want to look forward and build the biggest company in the world by beating China at the Olympic Games one day, who knows? But we can't forget where the little wins we get along the way.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think like events such as this, it shows we've had the able-bodied high performance program over the past year and a little bit has really built up. There's a lot more training happening at national squad level and within the states and territories as well. And the players have really bought in as well. So full credit to them. And and again, it comes back to if we offer some good opportunities and some good training, people will want to be part of something special. So although we're obviously, I think we still of course want to keep improving, but I think it's we do need to acknowledge there has been considerable strides made in the past year and a bit. So it's heading in the right direction for sure.
Closing stage of this set, Bromley 9-10, throwing in a tricky serve here. Quick shout out to the guys down at Gollongong, Anthony, Hannah and Philippe, avid supporters of Michelle Bromley, as Peng takes the first set, as Michelle Bromley starts to settle and get ready for that second set. Right, as we gear up for the second set, we'll just do a few score checks around the centre here. So we've got 4-2 for Michelle Wu against Stephanie Sang, but Stephanie won that first set, so leads in the match. Jan Feng Lei leads 1-0, 9-5 against Matilda Alexanderson. Melissa Tapper leads 1-0, 4-0 against Connie Psihogis, and Tracy Feng has won the first set against Parlene Kerr. Scotty, probably my next question is. And I don't want to harp on it, but I want to talk about sort of the position you found it in Table Tennis Australia when you came in. You mentioned $600,000+ worth of debt. Surely it wasn't just a one-off fix and it stops there. When you're trying to raise 600, well, it sort of gets you thinking how you can make 600 every year almost, right? So where are we at? How did you fix it almost? Maybe just give us a bit of a rundown there, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess the short summary of it is to repay the debt that we had. We basically changed our operating model. We've been running all of the work that we do exclusively through the funding that we receive from our various funding partners, such as Sport Australia and the AIS, Commonwealth Games Australia, Paralympics Australia and Australian Olympic Committee. And then all of the non-program revenue that we generate, things such as sponsorships and events and memberships and equipment sales and that type of thing. We've been using that revenue to clear out the debt. So it's a but we have been running pretty lean for the past 2 and a bit years, and it's pleasing now that we can start to look forward and expand and put some new staff on, like such as yourself coming on, at the beginning of this year in high performance. We're just about to hire a participation officer as well. That'll help in the participation and development space. So, yeah.
I look around and, over the last 2, 3, 4 events, and I'm just watching these sponsorship banners around our courts grow. It's not like you've utilised one major sponsor to help fund your programs or the office, let's call it, the general day-to-day. Tell us a bit about our sponsorship. I mean, I see Uncle Pop up there.
Yeah, so Uncle Pop, it's the first time they've come on board at an Australian event, but they're obviously a big company, especially in China. They actually were the title sponsor for the Women's World Cup, ITTF Women's World Cup, the past 3 years. So they're a big player, and it's very pleasing that they see fit to support an Australian event. They've come on board for this event, and also next week we've got National Hopes Week. They're on board as a sponsor for that as well, and also for the senior youth and para championships in Brisbane in April, they'll also be sponsoring there. So it's been a big plus for us to start getting more sponsors on board, and it certainly helps.
So Uncle Pop, just briefly, just to help me out, they're a small foods company in China.
Yeah, so they produce a lot of snack foods, predominantly in China, but they're looking to expand further on the international scene, and hence their interest in getting involved in events such as this in Australia. So it's great. Hope to provide good exposure, and it'll be a win-win.
Let's all eat Uncle Pop's small foods.
That's right. We'll be coming to a store near you soon.
So this set here now starting to go a little bit more according to plan for Michelle. Michelle's the higher ranked player generally. Commonwealth Games team 2 years ago, narrowly missing out on an Olympic spot 4 years ago. Starting to find her range here and go out to a 10-4, 11-4 win there. I think it's 10-4, or is it 11-4? 11-4, there we go. Second set to Michelle Bromley, going 1-1. Welcome back. So 2-0, we'll go around the courts. Jan Feng Lei now leads 3-0 against Matilda Alexanderson. Stephanie Sang now 2-0 against Michelle Wu. Tracy Feng out to a 2-0 against Parlene Kerr. And Melissa Tapper 2-0 against Connie Sihogis. 1-1 here with Kai Peng, Michelle Bromley. I'm joined by Scott Houston, CEO, Table Tennis Australia. We were just talking about our major sponsor, Uncle Pop, and how we've sort of rebuilt table, how Scott's and the board and the staff have rebuilt Table Tennis Australia over the last 2.5 years, and a lot of that is with thanks to a lot of support partners and sponsors. I think it's a good opportunity for us just to talk a little bit more about that, Scott, if you can.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been fortunate in that we have expanded our commercial partners over the past couple of years, and in return, we hope that we can provide good exposure and recognition for them at events such as this. We've had good viewership already today. The media statistics are looking pretty good. We hope that we can promote them as much as possible. But across the board, we've been well supported, as I said. So, we just re-signed last year a 5-year deal with Nataku and DHS. They've already been a long-term supporter of Table Tennis Australia and committed for another 5 years. Table Tennis World as well. They've come on board, in a more substantial fashion over the past 2 years and been great supporters. And also, with Ozcare as well, you see their logo on the national team shirt. They just recommitted for a 5-year deal as well in the middle of last year. So, you know, there's lots. And then, of course, also at this tournament, we have a lot of other sponsors too. So we have ACTTLA come on board for the Stage 1 trials, and they've carried over again here. The Sun Immigration, Global Trade, Cabby, there's plenty here.
Tell us a little bit about one of the initiatives you have for, if you can, about sort of national championships or events, if you're a participant, how you can get on board and sort of help yourself if you're a company owner.
Yeah, so basically what we try and do is, you know, our viewership has been considerably increasing over the past year. We've been working with MySportLive as our broadcast partner since the beginning of last year, and every event the viewership has gone up. So, you know, we're tracking pretty good numbers overall. So we think that we provide, you know, good return on investment, and yeah, there is a lot of exposure there. Plus, as well, you know, if you think about it from a broader perspective, they can have a chance to, you know, get involved with a sport that's on the move and a company that's on the way up. You know, so there's a lot of positives to be had.
5-6 Bromley, 6-7-5 now. Important match this for both girls. Peng already having a loss against Tracy Feng. This would put her in a 1-2 win-loss record and tricky position going forward. Whereas Michelle will have a nice clean sweep and be on that front page of the leaderboard tomorrow morning, going into moving day, as John and I have been calling it, to use a golf term. So important stages, 7-all.
Yeah, and as I was saying, with our viewership from our national events, so we just finished tallying everything up for 2019, and you know, across the 5 events that we covered, you had 51,500 unique viewers across more than 30 countries, and you know, more than 3,300 hours of footage is being viewed. So, you know,
I think that's over your first year.
And in the first year, and that's, you know, with streaming on a couple of days of each national championship. Yeah. So, you know, we've got a lot of room to continue to improve, but it's you know, we're happy with how it's going for the first year. And full credit to MySportLive as well. They've been great partners of us, and they understand the journey we're on. And it's been, that's why we re-signed again for 2020 with you know, another 5 events. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well done. As we turn our attention to this match here.
It's getting tight, 9-all.
1-all.
A couple of big serves for Michelle here.
Oh, that serve's really working for her. Worked in that first set at 9-all and working again here.
Definitely caught her off guard. Long and fast out to the back end.
She's got a nice little variation of short and long ones on those, and that one, yeah, like you said, caught her out. There it is again. Big shot from Peng. Beautiful backhand topspin to go 10-all.
Very tight here. You see Peng, she 9 times out of 10 will serve with their backhand. That's their favoured play. She does again. And a nice
set
backhand
play.
Open up.
Set play there, Scotty. You know a thing or two about set plays, buddy.
maybe a few years and kilos ago.
So you haven't played the nationals in how long?
I played Veterans Nationals.
Oh, when was that?
The last one I played was 2017. So
okay.
It was just a bit too busy the past couple of years, but I still enjoy playing, but don't enjoy losing. So when you don't train, it's a recipe for disaster, really.
Do you get a hit in every now and then?
Yeah, I still do a little bit. I help Sam Von Einem. I give him multi-ball once a week, and we sometimes play a set or two at the end. But you know, I have to. So
in other words, you're really doing it hard. The only hit you ever get is with a Paralympic silver medalist.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard work, isn't it, Scott?
And normally when I go there, he's always bags me about everything too. He's very comfortable around me. If I'm ever getting ahead of myself, he'll bring me down to earth quick smart.
So we're watching the Australian Olympic qualification event as our sponsors. Uncle Pop comes up. Paralympics. another big program. It's been a good journey, but that's sort of the qualification process is pretty much over there.
Yeah, so we're there's still a little bit to go, but it's looking likely that we'll be able to send our largest ever Paralympic team away to the Tokyo Paralympics. So yeah, we'll be looking at somewhere in the vicinity of 10 to 15 players. So we've been looking at the resourcing for the coaches that'll go away, and it's actually a good problem to have. We were questioning whether we'll have enough accreditations at the Paralympics to actually have enough coaches, which is it's a great problem to have. But the program is doing really well. So yeah, full credit. Alois Rosario as head coach and Sue Stevenson as program manager. They've been ticking a lot of boxes for a long time. So hopefully we can have some strong results in Tokyo Paralympics too.
Okay, just keeping you updated with some matches. Jan Fang Lowe's closed out her match against Matilda Alexanderson 4-0. Stephanie Sang now leads 3-0 against Michelle Wu 2-2. Melissa Tapper 10-2. Sorry, just closing out that match against Connie Psihogis. And Tracy Feng now leads 3-0 against Parlene Kerr. New program, Scotty. Obviously, about 18 months ago, I remember you submitting some forms for a bit of funding for some new programs, and you were successful in those applications. The two you chose were targeting the corporate area, which obviously opens up doors to more people playing the game, but opens up more door to your sponsorship model that you talked about, or the commercial partnership model.
Yep.
And the other one was the targeting young, new faces to table tennis, like the cricket programs, like the soccer programs.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
Yeah. So the Corporate Cup, we had our initial launch at StartCon in Sydney back in end of November, and the formal start of that will be in March. So yeah, we're basically looking to target. We already know table tennis is a big sport in companies, and especially in the tech industry. You get like basically every tech company will have a table or two there in the office. So we know it's popular. We're just about trying to harness it and use it as an opportunity for companies to engage in corporate health and well-being for their employees, but also networking in terms of being able to interact with other like-minded companies who also like table tennis. So it should be a win-win. Yeah, we're looking forward to the first edition March coming up.
Junior programs?
Yeah, so the junior program as well. So we have our new entry-level program, which is called Spinnaroos. So it's designed for young children as their first contact with table tennis, and all the other sports are doing it. AFL has Auskick, and tennis has Hot Shots and the like. So it makes sense for us to have one too, and we can hopefully engage more kids younger, and get them to love the sport at a younger age, and it can only be beneficial if we can do that. So
very good. Might well, I've got you here. I'll just keep pounding you with questions if you don't mind. It's a good chance to get the CEO of Table Tennis Australia to talk to us a bit about the daily operations and the programs, etc. Governance. I mean, board members. You touched on it's another arm that you have to look after. Your board. It seems stable. It seems strong. It seems productive.
Yeah.
Do you want to just talk about a bit about those two areas of the sport?
Yeah, it's been really good. So we at the 2018 AGM we had a whole new board come in, and yeah, it's been running really stable since then. And yeah, now we had Jamie Olsen took over as president a few months ago, and yeah, it's been working really well. I think all sports, and table tennis is included in that, obviously. I think gone are the days of having people on boards that they're very passionate about the sport, but modern directorship is much more than that. You need to have, you need to know about governance, you need to know about finance, you need to know about due diligence and making putting in place good processes and procedures, working with conflicts and so on. It's especially in sports governance, I think it can be at times a very slippery slope, and good people sometimes get stuck. But over the last 2.5 years, we've put in place really robust ways of doing business, and it's been working. And I think that shows, like, we get our governance rated every year by Sport
I'm
Australia.
going to hold you there for a second, Scott. We're going to go to a quick break.
No worries, we'll catch up after.
All right. Sorry to have interrupted you there, Scotty. I'll just do a quick check on scores. So Michelle Wu, Stephanie saying that one's over. Stephanie's gone 4-0. And Tracy Peng is 4-0 over Parlene Kerr. So we're locked at 2-2 here between Bromley and Kai Peng. Again, important match. Taking this opportunity to chat a little bit to Scott Houston. Stay tuned after this match. If I forget to tell you, we've got a big one. We've got the showdown between Hemming Hu and the quick-fire Nicholas Lum. Both boys are on 2 and 0 wins, and that's coming up directly after this round. So stay tuned. Scotty, you were telling us a bit about governance being rated.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah, so every year, Sport Australia, as our major funding partner, they require us to submit a lot of governance information, and they assess us against a range of about 24 or 25 different criteria. And last year our rating improved substantially on the back of the changes that we put in place over the year and a half prior. And we come out at 89%, which was up from 65, the year prior. So it's a substantial improvement. But and I think it shows that we're putting the right things in place to operate in a modern sporting environment.
Absolutely. Well, this one's really not sort of going to script here. I've seen these girls play a fair few times before, and normally see Michelle enjoy the match against Kai Peng. I think she's in for a real grind here. At the same time, it's not a bad thing for Michelle or Kai here in terms of this match for Michelle.
Yeah.
It's always good to get a tough one under your belt by day 2. I think Michelle's draw coming into this today and into this match were 2 relatively expected wins, I'd say, with wins over Connie Psihogis and Michelle Wu. So this here, just be good to see her get a good fight if she does come through, and set herself up for a good day tomorrow. Scotty, I've touched on a few areas here of your operations, a few of the work arms. What have I missed?
Probably on table tennis. We're pretty much the last couple of years we've been rebuilding everything, but of course we can't forget about what we're all here for as well, and that is to get more people playing the sport and staying in the sport longer. And then at the top end, such as the Olympic trials, you get the best of the best, and trying to push through to get good results at the Olympic Games. So it's sometimes, over the past couple of years when we have been doing a lot of heavy lifting to build up the business, you can't lose sight of the end game is to eventually have these good performances at international competitions. So,
somebody asked me the other day, in Australia we don't have a league and we should have a league, and they asked me for my thoughts. I mean, my comment back to them was, yeah, absolutely. I mean, a league would not hurt, and it'd be great. However, when you want to start, and any time's a good time to start a league. However, there's things you can do before you start your league, which is create the profiles, create the sponsorship database, create the larger network, increase the level of performance, so that way once you do put a league in place, that's just an example from a high performance point of view. But I guess what I'm really sort of asking is, how do you see it? What do you see sort of, obviously in these initial stages, just getting the ball rolling, as you said?
Yeah, so it's been great. I think, since end of 2017, John Murphy, end of 2018, John Murphy came on as coach, head coach for national squad, and we had set some goals there. And initially, we wanted to start building up the training that was available, and we've built it up substantially here in Melbourne, up to more than 20 hours a week now, which is probably that wouldn't have been offered since the last 20 years, I think, or more. And
Yeah,
plus,
1990s.
yeah, and then putting in place high performance agreements with states and territories as well. So 6 states and territories are on board, and we're looking to get the last couple on board in 2020. So, we need to get more players playing more often in better environments, and then we'll probably improve. Again, it's not rocket science, but it's about getting the work done on a daily basis, and that's why I'm really happy as well. We've been able to expand our staffing, and as I said, like positions such as your own that's come on in the past couple of months or so in a more ongoing capacity. It's going to allow us to do even more as well. So yeah, certainly want to keep building it up. Game points here for Bromley.
2 set points for Michelle Bromley to go 3-2, important stages.
Yeah, you got to
with
admire,
the serve.
Yeah, you got to admire Michelle. She's
Absolutely
been hanging in there for a long time, and it was fantastic to see her, qualify for the Commonwealth Games in 2018. And she's a great work ethic, and she fights harder than pretty much anyone. So I always have a lot of admiration for her game and how she just keeps on going and keeps fighting her hardest.
Yeah, it's a real sort of emotional, I'm going to say, special sort of story, Michelle.
Yeah.
Country, New South Wales. Family have put through, I don't know, a countless number of players playing the game, from her brothers to her father. So it's a real proud table tennis family. And then finally breaking through at the Com Games. I mean, every time I see the family, I almost break down in tears and walk away, because I know that story. I've been a part of it through the years as a domestic coach against her. I mean, she's the gutsiest player. She's the hardest fighter on the Australian scene, or one of.
Absolutely,
And just love to see her do well.
And there we go. She just takes that 5th game.
As we go to a short break. Okay, so I've tried shoving Scotty out of the commentary to bring Johnny Murphy back, and Scotty, the CEO's pulled rank and said, no, I'm staying in, Scotty.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this. It's always good to have a chat, and especially when the match is getting nice and close here at 3-2. It's John might have to be on the emergency list for a little bit longer.
No worries. Pleasure having you here.
So 6th game here. Bromley kicking off.
Her, just sort of, maybe it's a good insightful story for any kids watching today. I mean, Michelle's program is one of never say die, one of creativity, one, it's an amazing story. When I speak to her probably every couple of weeks just to give her some hints on training and keep up with the player. And watch a few videos of what's been happening and just help her along. But, Monday night, she's off to the shed to play with the Long Pimple player. Tuesday night, she has her session with Tracy, which is a totally different venue, 40 minutes the opposite direction. This is all after work, by the way. She holds a pretty high-end marketing job, where, most mornings when she can, she likes getting in at 4 o'clock, so then that way she misses all the office politics and she can actually get a lot of work done. Wednesday night is her chopping practice at a different hall, which is 30 minutes totally different to the other two. And so on and so on. And the whole week is built around 6 training sessions a week, sometimes 7.
Yeah. Yeah, no, she's a great example for anyone to follow, you know, like, yeah, she certainly gives herself the best chance every time. And, you know, and as you said, it's a great story growing up in country New South Wales, 4 hours from Sydney, coming up and down the highway, you know, all the time for training and competitions. And then she was a very good junior player, won a couple of national junior titles.
Went through those whole pathways, right? Junior,
Yeah.
cadets, under 15s, under 18s, under 21s.
Yeah, all the way through. And you know, and then in the seniors, she's been a very good player for a long time, but, you know, she had to earn it every single time. And as I said, it was great to see her qualify and represent Australia at the 2018 Com Games. So
I think it's interesting to note, and you know, I hope I'm not stepping out of line almost with saying it, but I think it's interesting to note that the 2 sort of female homegrown players through the development models of Australian table tennis, Melissa Tapper and Michelle Beaumont, 3.5 hours, 4 hours away from Melbourne and Sydney, are the 2 that have gotten through in the last 20 to 30 years.
yeah,
And there's no secret. What we're saying is almost there's no secret to success.
Yeah.
It's dedication, it's fight, it's resilience, it's hard working ethic, it's never say die.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, you know, you see it in a lot of sports where there's probably a disproportionate number of people who make it who are from country areas or regional areas. And I think it just comes with the territory. Like, they know that if they want to, you know, achieve, then they're going to have to travel further, longer. They're going to have to work a bit harder.
Right. Yeah.
And, you know, and I think it builds up that resilience that you need. There's definitely something to it.
What are our country numbers in Australian? Do we have some of those statistics, like country championships or something?
Yeah, I don't know the exact percentage off the top of my head, but it's certainly, you know, we have a very strong presence in country regions across the whole of Australia. So, yeah, you know, every town nearly has a table tennis club. We're, you know, 220 odd clubs, affiliated clubs around Australia.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, you'd probably be looking at somewhere around about 35-40% of them would be in regional areas, I would have thought. So.
Yeah, well, this one is going to test Michelle's resilience yet again here, Scott. 5'8",